can be a determining factor.
Let me first concede Dr. Kongo's
I know
biases.
you're going to say that. I know you're going to come to that. I knew. I was just waiting for it, actually.
His bias is acknowledged, but I must also acknowledge the fact that the Bureau, has done and has continued to do something substantive. The intervention is not just nominal; it's substantial. Perhaps the most difficult survey to conduct is a longitudinal survey, because it talks to the fact that you have to go to the primary source of the survey from the first go, and you keep going to them at that period from the year determined, to conduct the survey. So if you have done 2010 stroke 2011, and I think they did 2013, 2014 or something. Yeah. I think they did 2018, 2019, then 2023, 2024. So we're talking about 5 waves now. It means that you must try as much as possible to reduce possibility of attrition. That is, people moving from that locality, migrating from that locality, and the possibility of you not seeing that same set of people or that same household as constituted originally. So for them to even have just a record of 13% attrition, when I read it, I was impressed, because Nigeria is a very mobile geographical space. Household moves a lot towards economic impetuses. So you see rural, urban migration, especially, and you also see urban metropolitan migration, what we call JAPA. So it is when you consider that factor alone, to have a manageable number, statistical number in that same geographical space over a period of 10, 14 years, it means that the figures are well managed. I don't personally believe that the bigger the number in the statistical size, the more effective it is. Sometimes it could even give you the problem of error, So 5,000 is not bad if it is properly calibrated, except for the fact that some states, 5 states, were not.
Which is a lot.
It has issues, not meaning a lot. It has its own challenges, as it were. But the important thing is, once it is stated in the findings and the discussion of that survey, that this number of people or this number of states were not surveyed because of this issue, so you take an acknowledgement of that too, in understanding the essence of that of the data so gathered. Is a limitation. It does not erode the value of the data, because eventually, when you also now come to the data themselves, you see obvious differences, between what was the data gathered in 2023, 2024, for instance, and 2018, 2019 in the wave 4. So I think to a large extent, my reading of the data as they were shows that the data are true reflections of what is currently happening, in Nigeria. They are true reflections. One, the fact that they could not conduct the survey in those states shows that we had issues with security. And we also have the data talking about access to food, quality food, choice of food, independence of preference to the kind of food you want to eat and all that. And the figures, even from the how do I want to put it now? From the commonplace observation, for me, there's a validation, you know, of what we think, you know, is happening in the environment from the figure they are giving us, you know. And I think principally the whole essence of the survey itself is pivoted on agriculture, which is seen as perhaps the mainstay of the Nigerian economy, and that the larger population of the Nigerian economy revolve around agriculture. And to that extent, I think it provides basis for policy thinking, you know, because what it tells me, sincerely, is that there should be an understanding of the Nigerian federal system, you know, when it comes to policy consideration. There's this tendency to continue to look at Abuja for everything. But most of the issues, you know, most of the data gathered sectorially talks to federal responsibility, but mostly state responsibility. So if we are talking of agriculture and land, for instance, the average plot of land, that's about 40 million households. I think that also confirms what they saw in 2018, 2019, when the average plot of land was still just about 2.4 acres for an household. I have about 40-something million households involved in agriculture. It tells you that the level of our subsistence farming, it's even so low, because you have a household of 5 or 4, just depending on 2.4 acres of land. I mean, 2.4 acres of land, and they are going to feed on that, trade on that, you know, and of course depend on it for their existence. So, would this also address the fact that state government, for instance, need to create a policy of unleashing more arable land out of the possible 650 million hectares of arable land in Nigeria? And this land are invested in the states, not even in the federal government. And we can go on and on like that to look at all those aspects, all those sectors as they affect the economy.
Okay.